Hello, and welcome to your Saturn series. It is my honor to be coming to you guys today to talk to you about the planet Saturn in astrology. And what do you know? Here Saturn is right here. Oh, shoot. Hello, Saturn. So, yes, we have a hieroglyph. I don't know really what we would call this, but my little planet Saturn is with us here. So of course, I'm going to have a little intro video in the beginning of all these. Let's make sure I'm, Saturn material. And let me tell you, before these videos, woo, I can feel the Saturn energy. Like, I guess we'll just get talking about it, guys. So, well, just a little fun fact. I am actually, I would say, a pretty important advocate of Saturn because I have a Capricorn rising, so that makes me very Saturnian ruled. And also, I'm just going to mute my computer so we don't have any distractions. And I have Saturn on my sun. So in astrology, sometimes we will have planets conjunct certain signs, right? And so for me, I was just lucky enough to be born with my sun in Pisces at 14 degrees. And what do you know? Saturn at 14 degrees Pisces as well. So I just couldn't let Saturn change signs without me talking about how just fabulous he is, right, guys? So this is some channeled messages. I'm just going to be channeling today. I have some notes here, though. I do have some notes just so everything can stay structured and timely and things like that. So let's get into a little bit about what Saturn represents and stands for in astrology, and then we can get into what Saturn's most recent shift into Capricorn is going to be affecting you personally by your sign, your astrology sign. So Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, right? Capricorn is the 10th house in astrology. So that has everything to do with our career, our legacies, our long distance goals. So I would say when it comes to career and when it comes to our long distance goals and when it comes to our legacies, that's a very serious, part of the chart. The 10th house is also our midheaven. So our midheaven in astrology is symbolic for, well, our career, of course, but more so the direction in life that we need to go. Okay, so it's interesting to compare the midheaven to the north node because the midheaven is kind of like a mini north node in our astrology charts. And according to the midheaven, you can determine what your astrological boss is because the 10th house is the house of bosses and authority figures. So when we talk about the 10th house, you guys, we're also talking about Saturn. We're also talking about Capricorn. These energies all go together. They all bounce from each other, So when we think of Capricorn and we think of the mountain goat and the sea goat and how ambitious these signs are, Capricorn is actually one of the most misunderstood zodiac signs. They're very, very mysterious. Very, very mysterious. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that they're ruled by such an interesting planet. And it's not only interesting, it's just everybody wants to avoid Saturn. Like, it's not nothing to play around with. Saturn gets a bad rep. So I'm gonna be honest with you guys in these videos. And this is just my opinion. There's a lot of different, oh yeah, I got my little Saturn necklace, you guys, if anybody just saw that. I wanted to really make this symbolic for us here today. So, as I was saying, I'm going to do my best to interpret Saturn. And, since I have Saturn on my sun and since I have a Capricorn rising, I'm very, very Saturnian ruled, and I'm going to do my best to explain the good, explain the bad, explain the pretty, the ugly, and everything in between. So, Saturn. We haven't even talked about the fact that Saturn is the lord of karma. Okay, so Saturn, when I think of Saturn, I think about karma. And it's interesting that Saturn has these rings, right, that go around it because what goes around comes around, right? And that is a famous saying that is related to karma. So, it's basically you reap what you sow, you know what I mean? And I'm a very, very advocate for that. I very much believe in that people, get what they deserve, whether it be good or bad. So yes, Lord of Karma, Saturn is, I like to think of Saturn as a military dad. So, and not just a military dad, but a very serious father figure, right? Saturn is a very serious planet. Everything has to be serious. Everything has to be constricted. So serious that I'm gonna put this incense out after I let you guys have a little bit of the energy, I guess. But yeah, anything like that. Like, for instance, when I first started to sit down to record these videos, my computer was updating. And I hate when my computer does that because it takes so long and I'm just on a time limit today. So I just sat here for, oh my God, it took so long for my computer to update. And it was so funny to me because I'm like, Saturn, what you doing, man? What are you doing? Like, I'm trying to record your videos, So, yeah, I felt that was kind of, I think everything's a sign. So that was just kind of funny, to go through that. So yes, very serious planet that rules restrictions. Saturn is all about limitations. Okay, these are the more harsher terms. Saturn is about rules, regulations, doing everything in a timely manner, right? Saturn, it's like amazing. Like, and if you think of Saturn, and then Capricorns are Saturnian ruled people. So, the Capricorns I know, very hardworking. I'm like, how did you clean your house, go to work, pick up your dog, mow the lawn, solve world hunger, and you look fabulous? Like, how do you do that? So, shout out to the Capricorns watching. It's your energy. And, I'm a Capricorn rising, so my spirit is Capricorn, and I come off like a Capricorn, but I'm a Pisces. So, that's just an energy there. But Capricorn sun signs, they work really hard, very ambitious people, all about their goals, and actually they're a lot about respect as well, right? So when you think of Saturn as well, you have to think of respect and authority, So when it comes to authority figures, which is anybody in a uniform, the military, police officers, anything like that, that would be a Saturnian ruled figure. And I think of Saturn as a military dad, to the point where you could clean your room spick and span, and Saturn will wipe his finger on the desk and see just a little bit of dirt. I actually do have dirt on my desk, so sorry, Saturn, but he'll be like, you do it again. It wasn't right. You did it 30 seconds later than I wanted. That's not right. Now, let's get in a little bit before my intro ends here. I wanted to end it on a more positive note, because Saturn, when you think of, and I know there's some of you watching who actually did grow up, some of us had authoritarian parents. I had an Aquarius mom, and that's so ironic because Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn also rules Capricorn. So I guess, guys, when we're talking about these videos, when we're listening to this video, when we're hearing these messages today, we want to think about Aquarius and Capricorn, right? So it's interesting that Saturn is most at home in the 10th house, legacy, career, long-term goals, and also in the 11th house, which is groups of people, right? There is karma involved in groups of people, our community, our humanitarian, what we do to serve our community and the groups of people we associate with. So there is karma involved in that as well. So as I was saying, some of you who are watching, you may have grown up with an authoritarian parent, and this doesn't have to be a Capricorn or Aquarius. This could be any parent, because we all have different energy, right? This could be any parent that was just really strict. So I think strict is a good word to call Saturn. So I'm going to put that here just so I can remember that. Strict. Saturn is really strict. And okay, we're going to get into the more positive here, because where I was going with that is that, at the time when all these people are hard on us and, oh, clean it twice and don't do this and don't do that and don't do this, at the time it fucking sucks. We grow to hate these people. Saturn is a pretty hated planet, unfortunately. But throughout life we find ourselves oddly thanking these people, right? And we hate it. We hate to admit that. But it's the people who showed us structure, the people who showed us limitations and responsibility and hard work ethic. It's like going to the military when you're talking about Saturn. And it's because Saturn symbolizes, and Saturn is aware of what you do now is going to come back around to you. So if you put in the hard work now, if you're responsible now, if you work hard now, whatever you do now, it's important because it's your then. Your now is your then. Your now is your later. And that's a very Saturnian energy. So it's important, that we have these energies, because a lot of planets, and I have to say it, Neptune is one of those planets that don't really have this kind of energy. Neptune's like, chill. It'll happen when it happens, like, just do it whatever you want. It's okay that you were an hour late. It was meant to be, like water signs and water planets are, I would say, they lack boundaries. Okay, I love water. I'm a water sign. I love water. I'm all about water. But water takes the shape of its container, right? Water takes the shape of its container. And that's my little water spell that I did for the Cancer moon there. But yeah, water if you pour water into a square container, the water is going to look square, right? Water is also reflecting. So, that's a whole different story there. That's my little joke there to tell you that there's some planets that every planet, here's how I'll say this. Every planet has its duty. Every planet has its job and its position and everything like that. It has what it stands for. Every planet is symbolic for something, right? Neptune, the dream world, fantasy, illusion sometimes, Well, Saturn is actually the opposite of what you would think when you think Jupiter. And that's interesting because Jupiter rules Sagittarius, and Sagittarius comes right before Capricorn. So Jupiter, and even the symbols, I'm not sure if you guys will be able to see the symbol it's kind of dark, so I won't show it there. But just go ahead and look up the Saturn symbol, and then you can look at the Jupiter symbol, and they're kind of inverted, like it's to show you how opposite these signs are. So Jupiter is basically the opposite of the planet Saturn. Jupiter is all about expanding. It's all about making, it's the biggest planet in our solar system. So it's about expansion. It's about the higher knowledge of things, the deeper meaning, broadening your intellect and your philosophy, your teaching, learning, all that kind of stuff right there. And I'm talking about that because Saturn just got out of Sagittarius. So, Saturn being in Sagittarius, that was a very oxymoron. That was a really push and pull energy because, well, I think Saturn, I can channel Saturn, and I feel like Saturn for the past 3 years actually took a break. Like, deuces, you guys can handle your own karma. I'm going in Sagittarius where I'm going to party and put my feet up. But when I come back in 2008, if you didn't do the things that I taught you, Saturn in Scorpio, if you didn't do the things I taught you, Saturn in Libra, boy, am I going to come down hard on you. And Saturn in Capricorn, this is home, okay? Saturn is home. He's in Capricorn. And it's interesting because in 3 years, when Saturn moves into Aquarius, Saturn is home. I would say Saturn is more home in Capricorn. This grounded, quick, on its feet energy. Capricorns, they don't care. They don't have, I'm not saying Capricorns don't feel, but they don't feel as much as a water sign does. Because let me tell you, sometimes if I don't feel good enough to do something, my Capricorn rising completely gets thrown to the side. It's like, I don't feel like it. The energy today is just a little bit rough. I don't really feel like it. And then that's my emotions. I make emotional decisions. Now, Saturn is at home in the sign of Capricorn and Aquarius because those signs get shit done. They're responsible. Aquarius they're very futuristic thinking signs. So Saturn's all about your long-term goals. So it likes Aquarius. Aquarius thinks about the future. Aquarius is the star card where you're pouring from this end and you're pouring from that end. And it's interesting that Capricorn is the devil card, so that's a whole different story. I might have to do an entirely different video. Actually, I am doing kind of I'm going to be talking about the devil card and the real meaning of the devil card before Capricorn season ends. I'm going to do that a little bit towards the end of Capricorn season. That way I have a lot of energy to work with. But yeah, guys, Saturn. Okay, this is my intro video, trying to make it as structured as I can, but at the same time, I'm a Pisces, Taurus, Capricorn mix. So, this is just me being real. So I hope you're learning, and yeah, I think you'll learn more in the videos that are about your personal sign. So restrictions, limitations, boundaries. Well, but I would say boundaries is more of the positive side, right? That's why I went into that detail about water taking the shape of its glass, because water can lack boundaries sometimes. Water actually needs a foundation to have a shape, right? Water shapes us in astrology. So, you know, the good part about Saturn is that it teaches us self-control. It teaches us boundaries and limits and structure. You know, we do need those things in life, guys. So I'm glad that we have an energy in the universe that is an asshole enough to do that without caring about how we feel, right? Because sometimes we just have to get things done. This is our karma we're talking about here. When we're done with this realm, you know, we carry that with us. So Saturn is actually an energy that stays with us. Like, what do you think about this come around, go around thing? I love cycles. So Saturn works in a cycle, and it's a cycle that you create before, during, and after life. So Saturn's an energy. I feel like Saturn might be the first energy that you see when you pass on. Like, what'd you do? What'd you do with your life on Earth, huh? Did you do this? Did you do that? How long did it take you? Oh, well, you know that you're gonna have, like, the reason Saturn is so serious is because he knows that whatever you did, you will face again. So you want to just be woke. You wanna pay attention to the things that are going on around this time. You know, the karma that you're producing and designing for yourself, because we're all responsible for our own karma. And then we can get into the whole story about how you can actually affect other people's karma, which is, ooh, the karma for that is a beast. So Saturn is a very, very, very interesting energy, and I'm honored to talk to you guys today about what Saturn is going to be doing. So responsibilities, commitments, authority figures, teachers, it's a masculine energy. So Saturn actually rules our fathers. Saturn is discipline, and we talked about Saturn being rules and regulation. So that is all the hard facts about Saturn. I really just kind of want to, I have notes as well for the videos that I'll be doing for your guys' personal signs. I do want to channel a bit more though. I don't really like this structured energy, you know. It makes me feel like, okay, let's check that off, when really I just do better when I flow. Okay, so just hang in there with me, guys. You're gonna feel the Saturnian energy in me a little bit, but you're also gonna see it in that creative Pisces way, and then I'm gonna ground everything with my Taurus moon. Okay, so this is my Saturn series. My intro video is way longer than what I wanted it to be. Sorry, Saturn. All right, so just learn through me that Saturn low-key secretly understands that nothing's perfect, right? Perfection is Virgo, right? Capricorn is the cardinal earth sign. Perfection is Virgo. So Capricorn secretly knows that things can't always be perfect, guys. Okay, it's just about doing your best. Okay, it's about doing your absolute best. Work hard, play hard, things like that. The balance between work and play. It's about it's about taking yourself seriously. Okay, that's what this energy is about. So as long as you do that, and if you don't fall into that, oh, I'm not good enough, I didn't do that good enough, trust me, I'm already doing it. You know, it is what it is. You know, I need the material first. So keep this in mind, guys, that when you're doing a project or when you're doing anything that needs structure or boundaries or things like that, get it there first, do it first, and then let Saturn come in and teach you, oh, well, this was too long. You talk too long about this, that. Saturn will let you know everything that is not up to par. Okay, so let's get into your personal readings, and we will see what Saturn is doing in your astrology sign. All right, guys, I'll see you in the other videos. See ya. Hey Pisces, welcome to your Saturn video, where I talk all about Saturn in its recent shift into our 11th house of community and friends. Now, guys, before we get started on our video, I just wanted to talk to you about what we've been through the last 3 years. Saturn just finished up a transit in Sagittarius, and that means that it means that Saturn has been in our 10th house of career. Now, some people don't know this, but Pisces, we're prepared a little bit more than what some other people may be prepared for Saturn's shift into Capricorn. Saturn shifted into Capricorn last month on the 19th. It hasn't even been there for a full month yet. And I don't know about you, but I feel a way larger aspect of respect. I feel way more serious about things in my life. But I do believe that Pisces, since we just experienced, see, Capricorn is the 10th house. And when it comes to the universe, this wheel behind you that you see, Capricorn is the 10th house of career and legacy. So in the universe, Saturn just moved into the 10th house. But since Pisces is the 12th house, we're one sign behind, whereas Aries is usually the first house. Aries is Pisces' second house. So you just want to add one because we're one behind. So Gemini is the third house, but for Pisces, Gemini is the fourth house because we're one sign behind Aries. We're almost like 0, and Aries is 1. So it's technically 2, if that's not confusing. But I just wanted to share with you the great amount of stress that we've probably went through. I know I went through a lot of financial struggles, limits, and restrictions for the past 3 years. And if you just wanted to know a little bit more about why you may have been experiencing and may even still be experiencing those energies, is because Saturn was in our 10th house. Sagittarius is Pisces' 10th house. So Pisces are naturally expansive about their legacy. They're naturally expansive towards their goals and towards their ambitions, right? So now Saturn has moved into our 11th house. So finally, Saturn is the Lord of karma. So everywhere that Saturn goes, and I'm going to show you guys, like everybody else, the lovely little Saturn planet that I have here, right? So we have this energy here with us. Saturn's going to sit right there on my desk. No, don't start barking. Don't start barking for the Pisces video. No. My little dog is down here. He's been quite the little dick today. I might have to get authority over him or whatever. But so anyway, Pisces, karma. Saturn carries with it a great deal of karma, the Lord of karma. So, we experienced a lot of karma in our 10th house of legacy the past 3 years, and we're finally moving on from that. And what I was going to say before I was rudely interrupted by my little chihuahua here, karma is moving for everyone. Karma has moved and shifted for everyone. And our new karmic shift has everything to do with groups in karmic destiny. It has everything to do with our hopes and our dreams, because this is the 11th house. Now, Aquarius is the 11th house. And you want to focus a little bit on that Aquarian energy, because they are the humanitarians. They are what connects everybody, right? They rule groups and communities and friends and everything like that. And it's also about networking, because Aquarius rules the internet. And let's face it, in 2018, the best way to connect us all is the internet. So this is very much, karma may be influencing us over the internet, or some sort of connecting with people through the internet, things like that. Now, Saturn does rule restrictions and boundaries and limitations, but it's more so about breaking through those limitations and the boundaries that we feel we have on ourselves, right? Pisces, we are water signs, and we're the last house of the universe. So as I was just talking to Aquarius, who was going through a 12th house Saturn transit, I was talking to them about how the 12th house has no boundaries. You actually have to release boundaries in the 12th house in order to pass through it. So we don't really handle boundaries well as the mutable water sign. We just let all come as they are. We embrace all energies. We take the shape of our container and we pour ourselves into everything and anything. Well, Saturn's recent shift into our 11th house is really going to apply structure and limitations to a new area of our life, right? But it has more so to do with others. As I was taking notes on this shift for us, I was thinking about that this was a very interesting spot. And let me tell you, other people have it in other places, and there's some other serious positions. Pisces and Virgo have a rather interesting Saturn placement. So I just want you to know that it can get a lot worse, but this is pretty interesting here. I do have Saturn. I have Sagittarius in my 11th and my 12th house on my natal chart. So I already understand a bit how the Saturn can be in the 11th house. So we talked about how it can be community and friends. So since this has everything to do with karma, I feel as if for the next 3 years, Pisces are going to be karmically relating to their community and to their friends. And I was talking about how the 11th house is about what you're destined to do. Aquarius is the star card in tarot, and Aquarius rules the 11th house. So this is our destiny. This is our North Star. This is where we're supposed to be in life, right? So it's karmic collective creation is what I wrote down here. This is karmically and collectively, you know, creating with other people and with our communities. This is also karmic friendships and serious friendships. The 11th house is more so the house of friends, and it's the house of your community. So I do believe that wherever we live now, or wherever we live in the next 3 years, we are karmically meant to be there. Perhaps we move to a certain community because it's on our karmic path, move to a certain town or a certain city, and we meet a person there over the next 3 years that is destined and karmically involved with us and karmically meant to be our friend. And you know, friendships turn into love situations. So there is a hidden aspect here about love. But for now, we're going to focus on the karmic friendships and the serious friendships. So this is either, you know, getting more serious about the friendships we have with people now, or just, you know, making more friendships seriously. And I know that I don't have that many friends, so I'm looking forward to seeing what Saturn does in my 11th house, whether I meet, you know, new people that are, you know, and this is all about people matching your sense of responsibility. So whereas you may have friends now or had friends years ago that really didn't understand the work that you do, Pisces, didn't really understand your spirituality, well, this is karmically attracting friends that match your vibration. I think this is very fun, but it is about being serious about friendships. So if you have any friends that, I know Pisces can often attract friends and relationships of people who just use them, people who just use our love and light, and they just use our waters, use us to heal them, and then, you know, we always get the short end of the stick. So a lot of our friends, you know, misuse us, and we don't really feel that our friends are... Pisces is so healing and so loving that we often never find, unless it's another Pisces, it's hard for us to find someone who we feel cares about us as much as we care about them. So this is going to add a serious aspect to the community we live in and to the friends and groups that we associate with. Now, we can find ourselves in groups in almost any situation. We find ourselves in groups at work. So, you know, this is a lot to do with teamwork, you guys, because this is karma. Saturn's all about hard work. And since it's in our 11th house of other people, this is about working seriously with others. So if you find yourself at work, you're probably going to be really annoyed with people who aren't taking their responsibilities on at work seriously, especially if the work falls on you, you know, things like that. You're really going to be cutting people off that aren't seriously handling their work well, especially if you're working in teams. This brings me back to college, in high school, when I used to work in teams, and I would, you know, I would wind up, I'm very creative, so it would be nothing for me to take a project home and creatively finish the whole thing, and then I have my team members who stand up in front of the class, have no idea what to say because they didn't do the work. Only I did the work, so only I understand it. So, you know, with that being said, you just want to make sure if you're in teamwork situations that everyone's being responsible, because you're a Pisces and you have Saturn in your 11th house, and Saturn saying, hey Pisces, you know, the groups of people that you're around need to be serious. The groups of people you're around that you're working with need to be responsible. Okay, and it'll really stress you out if it's, because Saturn can be very, can apply a lot of pressure there, make you feel really like out of place, right? So you want to be careful in groups of people. I have these notes here that say be careful in groups of people, because, you know, we're very empathic, Pisces, and I don't know about you guys, but I don't really like to be in large groups of people. I don't like to be in large crowds because it's a lot of energy for me to feel at once. As a Pisces, being the last sign of the universe, we automatically feel the energy of every zodiac sign. We are a mixture of all the zodiac signs. So we have a natural ability to feel what other people are feeling. You got to be one of the zodiac signs, right? So if you're a Gemini around me, or if you're a Taurus around me, I can naturally pick up on your energy because I am you. So, you know, since we're the last sign on the wheel, since we are already everyone, it's very, very intense. I'm not going to say that all Pisces don't like it, because we have celebrity Pisces, you know, but I bet you, like, let's say for Rihanna, for an example, she may experience a lot of anxiety over the next 3 years when it comes to performing and when it comes to large groups of people, because Saturn rules fears. Saturn rules worries. Saturn rules restrictions and limitations. So while some of us may be restricted and limited from being around large groups of people, others of us may find ourselves in large groups of people and just being very nervous and having a lot of fears there. So just be careful, Pisces, because this is the house of groups. Karmic groups. If you do find yourself in a group, if you do find yourself not being limited from that kind of thing, just know that Saturn is actually karmically pushing you to work with these individuals, because something beautiful may come out of it, something karmic. But, you know, once again, these have to be serious, responsible people. They can't just be people who don't match your vibration, because potentially that can be toxic for you, Pisces. And we just really want to be careful over the next 3 years. We want to pay a lot of attention to the groups we are in, even our community that we live in, you know, whether we live in little towns or big cities. You know, since Saturn is in our 11th house, there's something there with karma. And karma is all about what goes around comes around, right? Karma is essentially a law in the universe that says the energy that you put out is the energy that will return to you, because it belongs to you. So our karma can manifest in a way of our friends, how we treat our friends. Ty, no. You know, Saturn can manifest in a way as our friends or in groups. Okay, you're getting out. Go. And that right there is what I mean. You know, and I'm just going to use this as a metaphor that we may have to remove certain energies from our life, especially if they're keeping us from being serious. You know, if they're keeping us from being responsible, we may have to shut the door on them. So let's see here, the rest of the notes that we have. Being careful in groups of people, definitely. Since Saturn rules fears and worries and things like that, we could feel alienated especially because, you know, it's interesting that alienated, because Aquarius is the 11th house of their aliens, right? So we could feel very alienated you guys, I'll be right back. I'm gonna shut my dog up and then I'll finish our video. Okay, sorry about that, Pisces. So much interference. And this is exactly the stresses that can be caused by, you know, the overwhelming sensation of being serious and responsible, you know, like it's kind of manifesting. And the universe works through me. So I want you to see me and my stress right now and how I'm trying to make everything perfect and work so hard. And, you know, I don't know if you guys have felt it, but I've felt an overwhelming sensation of responsibility, and I've experienced a lot of interference. I've even been interfering myself, thinking things aren't good enough, and that can be the negative side of Saturn. But the more positive side of Saturn, it can teach you the right restrictions and boundaries that we have. And for us, it's all about the people around us. And I think this is right on time. Like I was saying about karma, you know, it's energy that needs to return to us. So Pisces, I do feel like for the last 6-7 years, we've really allowed certain people to treat us ways that is less than kind. We've allowed certain people to get away with certain things. You know how humble and nice we can be. So now that Saturn has moved into a rather interesting part of our chart, you know, we're going to have to really create authority. You know, when we find ourselves working in these groups or we find ourselves working with these people, you know, they may look at us a little interesting, like, wow, they've really stepped up their game. I thought she was just really silent and shy. But, you know, Pisces, we have all kinds of different personalities. We have a lot of people don't understand us because we can pretty much pull energy from anywhere in the universe. If we need to be authority figures, we can be authority figures. We might not like it because we're really soft and kind and watery, but we can do it. You know, there's not anything that a Pisces can't do or that a Pisces can't learn. So that energy just kind of reminded me, you know, I learn through things, especially these videos are important to me. So I know that everything happens for a reason. And my dog interrupted the Capricorn video as well. So I know that there's something there with that energy. You know, you want to make sure that you're removing distractions, even if they're your little dog or if they're a relationship or whatever it is, you know, and a lot. Don't get too much in your head about it, because I've got myself all worked up and, you know, I've got a headache and so what? You know, it's not that big of a deal. And just remember that Saturn isn't about perfection. Saturn is about persistence. Saturn is about hard work. So as long as you do your best As long as you know, work as hard as you can and be the best you, then this energy is fine. And for us, it's not really, you know, you have to excuse me because I have a Capricorn rising. So I'm different than all Pisces. You know, not every Pisces has a Capricorn rising. Those of us who have Capricorn risings, yeah, Saturn is in our first house. So it's basically like we're Capricorns. So that's why I'm just being all serious and things like that. But let's get here back to the notes. I don't know where I left off. Oh, alienated from the community that we're in. And we can also find ourselves, remember how I was talking about being afraid in groups of people, experiencing anxiety in groups of people. Well, that might be why we feel alienated. We may find ourselves in, whether you're in college or if you're in some sort of group project or even groups of people, just whatever. If you find yourself amongst 4 or more people, could be a bunch of friends that come hang out. All of a sudden, you know, you may just feel like extremely aware of how different you are. And you may feel like you can't connect with the people around you. And we don't like that. Pisces, we are the ones that can connect with everyone. You know, being the last house of the zodiac, you know, we don't really meet people often that we can't connect with. So if you do feel this way, Pisces, over the next 3 years, you just want to make sure that you're understanding the fact that Saturn is in a very interesting place in our chart. Saturn is restricting and karmically influencing the groups of people around us. So we can learn more from the groups of people around us now than ever. And some of these groups of people may teach us that we don't belong in those groups, that we're just too different in that group. We're too spiritual for this group, we're too emotional for this group. And it's about finding the right groups over the next 3 years. I do hope that over the next 3 years, we wind up in communities, in groups of people that are more authentic reflections of us, okay? So, alienated from communities, you know, fears and worries and anxieties. We may not feel like we belong in this community, so we can move over the next 3 years. We can we can make a lot of new friends and end a lot of old friends. Depends how that's going to manifest for us. I do have isolation here. Isolation is a thing that a lot of people with Saturn in the 11th house experience. But other than that, it's really just about filtering our friendships, you know. We may spend the next few years, we may have already been doing this, really reflecting on what it is that our friendships can teach us, you know. We may be thinking, we see people now and we're like, wow, I've been friends with you for 10 years, but I'm seeing sides of you that because this Capricorn transit is really going to bring out the real character of people. You know, we see that anyway. We're very empathic, so we can feel people's like true essence and their true energy. So, you know, whereas other times when we don't have any boundaries and we're just really accepting, we may just embrace all these people and just say, yeah, sure, you can be my friend. I love everybody. I'm a Pisces, right? I work for the universe. I'm loving. Well, Pisces, it's time for us to really put our authoritative foot down. And there can be some people that the universe shows us don't need to be our friends. They don't deserve to be our friends anymore. Certain groups of people we no longer hang out with because we felt isolated. So this is what I mean by filtering our friendships. And also, on a more positive note, we could make a lot of friends. Since Saturn is old, it rules old souls. It rules, you know, mature figures of authority. Usually people of authority are mature, like police officers and military, you know. When I think of authority, I think of someone who's sometimes older than me or something like that. So with this being in our 11th house, we could make friends with older groups. We could make older friends. I know that's been true for me, and I'm someone who hangs out with all ages, but I usually hang out with people who are older than me. I mean, I hang out with people who are sometimes 10 years older than me because I have a really old soul too, being a Capricorn rising and a Pisces. Pisces are really old souls, like from a different dimension old. So, you know, we could be making friends with older individuals than us, and that's great because we could potentially learn and grow from these individuals. If they're more wise or have more experience in a certain area, we could be getting advice or guidance from these older figures. Maybe we can even learn from our fathers because Saturn rules father figures as well. So this is getting more in touch with your father figure and things like that. And if you're not making friends with groups of people, new groups of people or new older groups of people, then this is just attracting a stable friendship because Saturn is a very stable energy. Capricorn is a very stable sign. So this is about making stable friendships and living in a stable community. Some of you may be moving out of one community and into another because you want to feel more stable. And this could be anything. This could be living far away from family for the last few years, and now that you're focused more on your goals and your responsibility, you're like, I really just want to move somewhere closer to home because I'm going to feel more comfortable. I'm going to be able to focus on my work more, see my parents more. So I'm going to move from this community over the next 3 years to back to this certain community or to this community because it's a stable move. You know what I mean? So finding yourself in, maybe our friendships will stabilize, okay, or we'll just make new friends that are stable, and we may find ourselves in a more stable community if we've been dealing with kind of a chaotic surroundings. This is stable surroundings, stable friendships. So I talked a little bit about how Saturn rules fears, worries, and doubts. So you want to be careful not to let Saturn scare you into making new friends. Because wherever Saturn goes, it can kind of bring with it a sense of overwhelming anxiety and fears and worrying, like, oh, is this friend, like we may meet a new friend and they're so much older than us that we're like, is this person like not good for me? I don't know. For some reason, I'm being really serious about my friendships right now and the groups of people. So, you just want to be careful not to let Saturn restrict you from meeting new people right now and for the next 3 years, because it's very karmic for us. It's very karmic for us to meet new people and to branch out and to collectively, even on the internet, meeting new people through the internet, meeting new groups. We may find ourselves joining groups on the internet, things like that. And if we are allowing Saturn to harshly restrict that, we're going to live in fear, which is not good, and it'll result in loneliness and isolation. And Pisces, we're so different. We have such different energy than most people on Earth that we already feel lonely and isolated. So follow your intuition and allow these new friendships. I do see the universe really sending Pisces new friendships that may potentially turn into love interests, but it's going to stay at a friend level for the majority of this transit and then potentially move in to a more serious aspect. And this could very well getting more serious about, so in a certain way, getting more serious about our friendships, getting more stable about our friendships could mean a friend turning into a lover. You never know, some of you. So I have here a little bit of notes. Going back to that isolation thing, could feel like a social outcast. We could also be experiencing pressure from our friends. I already said that we could make friends with figures that are older than us, or we could even be making friends with authority figures, or just finding ourselves in groups among these authority figures, which are teachers, military people, anybody in a uniform can be considered a person of authority, honestly. So yeah, we may even take on an authority role in our community. And back to what I was saying here, my notes are kind of all over the place because I'm a Pisces, but if we do doubt these new friendships coming in, the universe is saying that we may reject a new acquaintance because we want to be a lone wolf, like this has a lot to do with I do see some of us embracing these groups, okay? But for others of us, Saturn is really going to make us more serious about the people around us. We may not go to the club. We may not go to this meeting, or we may not put ourselves in this situation to be around a bunch of people because it's just not karmically meant for us. But on the other hand, some of us, it is meant to be. So this is just me like generalizing the information. And, I'm just kind of listening to this for myself. I don't typically like groups of people, but I am going to watch this video back and kind of relate this to my own self and see where it makes sense for me and where it doesn't. So going back here, we're going to end on a positive note here that 11th house is all about your dreams and your wishes and your goals. So Pisces, we're really going to be experiencing karma over the next 3 years, and it has everything to do with our dreams, our karmic dreams. We're meant to have these dreams. We're meant to reach these goals, right? That's what karmic means. We may be the humanitarian. We already are kind of the humanitarian spiritually. So instead of standing off, and being rigid like Saturn, being shy, I feel like we're going to really embrace the authority that Saturn is giving us amongst these groups of people. And for some of us, that may be standing up and leading. It may be some of us standing up and actually teaching certain things, certain wisdom that we have inside. So these are the end of my notes here. Sorry about the distractions. Sorry that the videos are late and things like that. But this is my it's kind of my information here about what I think Saturn can do for us in the next 3 years. So if this was confusing to you, you can research a little bit more about Saturn in the 11th house, and maybe you can find something a little bit more structured or a little bit more, I'm still a Pisces, so I try to be creative and I try to listen to the universe about these things. Also, you can research Saturn in Aquarius. Saturn will be in Aquarius down the road a few years from now. So that's interesting. But that carries the same energy. Saturn in Aquarius, Saturn in the 11th house, kind of a similar energy there. So you may be able to learn a little bit more about what this transit can do for you. And you can research that on Google or anywhere online or on YouTube. And of course, you can comment below and we can talk further about some things that I meant here today. Or we can, you can email me or message me on my social media. All of that will be listed below in the description box. I would definitely love to talk more about these responsibilities that we have, Pisces, about this kind of 11th house energy, responsibility in the community and in the friendships and the groups of people that we have that has a relation to our destiny and our hopes and our dreams. So it's a lot better than Pisces. It's a lot better than Saturn being in our 10th house, huh? It's just karma in a different area of our life. And it's best if we just take on the responsibility, these new responsibilities that we have, and just flow with the energy like the fish that we are. Until next time, guys, I will talk to you, and I'm not really sure when it will be, but just keep a lookout for my January Pisces videos, okay? And we will talk more then. Bye, guys. Love you.